Hi, and welcome back to the countertops I'm doing at the moment. I'm just going to do a short video on the preparation side, which is basically these are bushboard countertops. They've got a few issues with them, which is basically some bubbling underneath the bushboard. Water ingress on the joint. So what I'm doing here is I'm just taking off the tiles, and then we'll get to sorting out the countertop. As you can see, the tiles have been put on with a premix adhesive something like 15 years ago, and they're just popping off nicely. I've loosened out the sockets. I want to make sure that all the rubble, dirt, dust that is on the wall over the countertops will be completely cleared before I start digging into the actual countertop itself. So here's what I mean by the bubble. This is actually bubbled up by water ingress on a join, and I'm just going to chip it out and use an epoxy wood filler to smooth it, to make it good. I had to have multiple goes at this, finally getting it with the level. I didn't really want to take too much out, but the more I went, the more I found the damage, the bushboard chip, it's a type of chipboard that we use here in the UK, that the water had basically soaked deeper and deeper and had expanded the actual glue. So it was better to just make sure that I had all the blown stuff out. I guess that's the only way of sort of, but yeah, so work away at it. I believe in America you call it Bondo mix, or metal putty is another name we use over here. The two-part compound for filling. So I'm just getting, basically you mix about a golf ball to a pea of hardener. Now I need quite a large amount, so I'm doing probably about 2 golf balls to a broad bean. And put on your rubber gloves, glasses. Careful of that stuff. If this stuff flicks up into your eyes, you're going to be in like major problems. So just take it easy. You know, you got about 20 minutes to work with it. Make sure you work it in well. That's the important part when you're mixing it. I'll give you a little example of it here. So I use a really good little spatula mixing trowel to do this, quite a flexible one. So a filling knife, they call them over here. Fairly thin. And then I've got a second filling knife on standby, so I work the two knives together afterwards when I'm actually putting the wood filler, plastic padding, plastic metal in. We used to use this for cars like years ago. Fill in the dents or the rust. Certainly the rust in Ireland and England and the UK is about the only thing that can't rust is this stuff, so it's very popular. So yeah, mix it thoroughly. I've put it on because I know that I'm obviously not going to ruin the countertop or anything like that. I'm going to sand it back and give it a key afterwards. I've just put some masking tape on it, some wide strip of masking tape, and basically mixed it on that. So the back edge of these countertops to the wall, after taking the tiles off, I found that there was quite a gap. So I decided I'd fill it with this wood filler, and that way when I'm pouring the resin, it's not going to fall down the back of the countertop and lose all my resin down the back of the countertops. It's, you're going to lose quite a bit on the front edge and around the holes for the sink and the cooker, so the last thing you really want is it running down the back edge, especially when I've got that big repair on the side. So nice and steady, fill it in, and watch your working time obviously, because just understand it's all kind of going off. So if you do the small items that need a small amount of filling first, then when you come back and you still have a lot left, you can use a large amount to fill a large piece like the piece I was chipping out there. And I've pretty much calculated that for the first 5 minutes or so, I'm going to do some small fiddly filling with the metal, with the plastic metal, and then when I start feeling that it's starting to go off a little, that I'm not going to get it like really smooth and stuff, then I'm going to start filling the big areas that I need to fill. And then I'll with my next batch I'll do the same. I'll mix a large batch, I'll do the fine filling, and then I'll whack it in the large area that when it's just starting to go. And you kind of get used to working like that. You get a real feel for the materials that you work with. And of course, the more you use this stuff, the better you get at it. So if you need to maybe get a practice for it, get an old piece of wood or whatever, and try filling it and see how fast you can fill without it going off. You'll notice immediately when it starts hardening up. It's and then it goes quite fast to unworkable. But I mean, I can still work this nicely. I'm just being kind of cautious of the time, I guess. That's still working really nice. It's no big problems. I think now you can see it's just starting to pull a little bit, and but I'm not trying to get this perfect on the first run. What I want to do on the first run is fill the main part. So now I've pretty much taken out the sink. It's hoover up time, as you saw probably earlier. Back of the sink there's a lot of blown work surface, so again just working my chisel in, making sure that I'm getting all the wet rot stuff out. You can actually see the stuff that's coming out really easy is darker material. That's where the water's got into the to the bushboard, and well, we call it blown, where the glue comes apart and expands underneath the bushboard, and then the top goes into becomes a little sort of mountainous area. The problem with that, with epoxy, is if you pour or try to pour epoxy on an uneven surface, then it will show every lump and bump on it. Now, it doesn't so much matter if it's a scar or if it's a deep cut, it'll fill. But if it's rounded up, then that hump will show. So you better to be real careful with the prep and make sure that you got it all good. Again, get the level on it, see what's happening. If it comes off with the chisel like that, then it's not worth staying on. And don't be afraid to pull it out, Keep working. Okay, so there you go. A little bit of music to help you along. Um, yeah, just filling in the fiddly bits now. Afterwards, I actually decided to put the gas hob up on stilts so I didn't have to do the disconnect. But it wouldn't really have helped me do the filling part because I needed access to the back of the hob. I needed visual access. And it worked out fine. But like I say, lots and lots of preparation, filling, getting everything sorted. We're going to take a little look around now. I'm just checking that back edge, seeing if it needs any more scraping back, filling, which I believe it did. So there you go. That's the main part of the bulk of the preparation that I had to do for these countertops. If you liked the video, then give me a thumbs up below, subscribe, hit the bell, and that way you'll find out when the next video is coming up, and you'll get an automatic notification. The next part will be about pretty much painting and pouring the epoxy tops. So really cool stuff. I shall see you in the next one. Thanks very much. Bye.